What emotional block do you have in regards to money? That's today's question. Hi, I'm Sunny, and I have 4 piles you guys can choose from. From left to right, I have pile 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you're more than welcome to pause the video if you feel like you need more time to contemplate on the card and then fill out the question. Otherwise, I will go ahead and start with the first pile. So for pile number 1, you guys have the Temperance card reversed. So for you guys, an emotional block might be that you feel like there's something in your life that is making you feel like you're not in control. You're losing control, and maybe that's making you feel like your finances are kind of slipping away from you. So maybe a chaotic event happened, an unforeseen expense, for example, like I imagine something like a pipe breaking and you're having to spend money to fix it, and it was more than you expected, and then it's making you feel frustrated that you don't have any extra income to, fix it right away sometimes. Or maybe it's just, it was a big expense and you can pay it in installments, but it just feels like with the Temperance reverse, you're struggling to even make that happen. Or it could be something more simple as like, not simple, but more so direct in regards to your physical body, like you liking to have certain habits, let's say, and you might like a drink or 2 or 3 or 4 and so on. Or maybe you might like to indulge yourself basically in other things, like maybe just purchasing a lot of items for yourself, or maybe purchasing a lot of food, or just maybe sweets, make whatever habit you're trying to moderate yourself with. That's what's basically not helping you in actually finding that moderation in keeping more stable income. That's an emotional block for you, that you're trying to basically balance yourself out in your life, and you can't find that stepping stone to kind of like take a breather and like finally get a good head in your shoulders basically. But it just feels like you're struggling to find that internal balance to kind of lead you to having more prosperity. That's what's kind of making it more troublesome. Maybe a sense of direction even at that, but it just feels like with the Temperance card, you're trying to seek help from others, like to help you out, but it's just basically you, right? You're kind of having to put in the work, right? Put in the hard effort to actually make it through. So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much. So pile number 2. Pile number 2, you guys have the 9 of Pentacles reversed. So an emotional blockage for you might have to do with your self-worth. With this pile, usually this is abundance, and you're able to enjoy it, like enjoying a life of luxury, enjoying a life of comfort because of your hard work. And maybe you haven't gotten enough hard work in, or maybe you feel like you are struggling to find work, or being able to save even that a little bit from your jobs and stuff. And that's why you don't feel that confident in yourself. It just feels like you took a big blow to yourself. So confidence is key to finding that abundance. Maybe that's where you're struggling, but it just feels like you're struggling to kind of find that footing, because maybe you weren't so savvy when it came to financial decisions, or maybe you had your own expenses, or maybe you didn't see how your career choices, you had to invest some of that money in it, like example, buying your uniform or buying your utensils or anything like that required you to invest in it. It was bigger expenses than you thought, and that's where you're like not very confident that you can get it back, or maybe you're undervaluing that effort that you put in. Maybe you're not, if you're selling an item, for example, you're not kind of giving, you're not, how is it, waging, no, you're not, how can I say, you're not investing, you're not putting the cost, like, so let's say you're selling an item, you're undercutting, is it undercutting or underpricing, there you go, underpricing the value you're giving out, when you could be giving out very detailed stuff. Or like, let's say you're selling soaps, for example, and you're selling them for $2 when you could be making $10 or whatever. I don't know how much soaps cost, like not homemade soaps, like but it really depends, like maybe because you've added fragrance, or because you've added little cute figurines, or maybe because you added scents, like colors, like you're undervaluing your efforts, and maybe that's where you're struggling to kind of, you know, put that aside to give you that prosperity that you're asking for. So work on that emotional baggage emotional blockage, I'm sorry. Your self-worth, pile number 2, and I think pile number 1 too. Your self-worth might have something to do with it, your low confidence in that. So next is pile number 3. You guys have the 5 of Cups upright. So pile number 3, the emotional, not baggage, I keep wanting to say baggage, the emotional blockage. The emotional blockage you have, pile number 3, has to do with the fact that maybe you feel that you put your eggs in one basket and maybe it didn't work out before, but now it is. But you're gonna have to walk away from that like mindset of like, I was focused solely on this project, but it's not giving, like, I just feel you're focused too much on the past, and that's an emotional blockage for you. It's more like, I feel like it's more like a mental one here. I know it's Cup energy, but sorry, I had to take a sip of water. I know it's Cup energy, but I just feel that this pile is really focusing on like, this past thing didn't work out, or like maybe this past relationship didn't work out. And if you're not in, you don't have to be in a committed relationship, but if you're not in the stable emotional space of like, I already worked through that, I had closure, you know, I really processed it. If you don't have that downtime for yourself to really process that emotional space, you're not really good, and you're not really going to do somehow good in your finances. There's a connection for you. It's not always like that with everybody, but for you, it's very important to have that comforting space of like, I already worked through this, I know what I got, but I can now move forward. And you're struggling to move forward. I think you're still stuck in that past. You're looking at, maybe you're even looking at the present, but there's a connection to you in the past lovers, past creative projects that didn't work out, and you should be looking up. This man or woman is looking down. You need to face up and continue, like, to continue your path. You're gonna have to move forward with the actual cup or cups. Like, there's 2 cups here, like you have options here. To me, it feels like you have at least more than one option, definitely 2 for sure, with these 2 cups upward. So I feel like you have the potential to pursue these. You have those options, but you choose to focus on what didn't work out, or how you really stuck, like I really want this, even though it's probably not even as fruitful for you. If you looked like, imagine this is option 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're looking at the first 3 options, like, I was gonna get, like, I don't know, like, imagine like $10, right? So I was gonna get $10 with these options, but this other options, like, well, you could still get money with these, but you're like not looking at the fact that these could potentially make you $40, $80, and $100. Like, you're like, no, I really wanted this. So get out of that mindset, pile number 3, that when you realize that these options weren't exactly like going to benefit you to the fullest extent, is when you realize that, you know, you have something good already. It's just that you are choosing to be stubborn. Don't be so stubborn. It just feels like, work on that stubbornness in your emotional aspect and move forward and have closure with what did or didn't work out. So thank you, pile number 3. Next is pile number 4. You guys have the 3 of Pentacles upright. So when it comes to your emotional blockage, pile number 3, when it comes to your finances and money, it has to do with teamwork. Are you someone that's being good, like a good team player? Are you having to expand above that? Or maybe you're not getting the proper credit for what you're putting into, or maybe you just need to learn the basics and like get a slice of humble pie. Sometimes it's not always about the teamwork, but more so keep yourself not humble because you need to be deserved to be humbled, but more so be practical. Is this really the easiest way for you to achieve a better outlook when it comes to your finances, for example? So practicality can lead you to slowly increasing that money. I think compared to the other piles, this feels like it's slow and steady work. Like, I think there was one more pile, I think, but it was kind of a different way. This is all emotional blockages, but it just feels like this one's more like outwardly compared to the previous one. I don't remember which pile it was, but there was another pentacle pile, and I remember that I'm like, it was reversed. So I feel this one's more like outwardly, where you're like, it has more of a physical, tangible result that's needed of you than an actual internal one. Like, it is an emotional blockage, but not so much like that's gonna be slow or that's gonna remain. It just feels like there's a connection with the outwardly connection of that with the emotional blockage. So keep that in mind. Maybe you feel like you don't have the best people to rely on in your team, or maybe you're trying to get that and that's why you're stressed about it. So that can be causing an emotional blockage, or it feels like maybe you're still working on that. Maybe you want people who are dedicated dedicated to the same cause. I can't even say words sometimes. To the same cause as you are. Or maybe you're trying to find people who are actually reliable, or people who know their practice too, people who maybe have been in the industry for longer than you have, or maybe people who are teachers, for example, who know their expertise. Like, I think you're looking for a very specific team that you're trying to work with or trying to learn from each other, and maybe that's why it's taking you some time to kind of feel like you have the right sources to, or connections to, build the foundation that you want, build what you actually desire, which is maybe like architecture, for example, like in this picture, something like that, where you're like, I need to know that I can trust these people, but it's going to take me some time. And that's an emotional blockage for you, because maybe you're not that good with words. Maybe you're just not very good at convincing people that you can be trusting and like reliable, but you show that with your work. But sometimes people need that communication, that reassurance that you've got this. And it can be tricky to kind of put that blind faith into somebody else, not just you, but from the other side too, like other team members to you, or other people to you. Seeking investors, for example, too, is just knowing to reassure people and knowing how to kind of connect with them, and ground yourself and be responsible and really connect with them on a personal level. That can kind of be the blockage for you to kind of make sure that your finances increase. So that's one of those blockages, or maybe one of those things one of the challenges you might need to kind of tweak up a bit and like work on pile number 4. But remember, do take what resonates. So thank you, pile 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. It helps me out with my algorithm. I feel like I started kind of sluggish at first. And I'm sorry if I kind of started like that, if you stayed all the way to the end, pile number 1, 2, and 3. But sometimes it's like that. I feel like I pick up the pace sometimes. So thank you, pal 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll see you soon. So bye, everybody.